Earth didn't fall with a bang. It fell with silence. The skies cracked open one morning like glass, and we, so proud, so advanced, didn't even fight. Our satellites blinked out one by one. Communications vanished. Military response was confused, scattered. And then came the shadows, sleek, monstrous ships like black bones floating over cities. They didn't speak our language. They didn't need to. They just began harvesting. I was 15 when they took my father. They pulled him from our home like trash, a hook around his neck, screaming, choking. My mom cried until her eyes bled, and I just froze. Because what do you do when monsters walk your street and the sky is full of teeth? We called them the Kalari. Some scientists tried to understand their biology. Others tried diplomacy. A few tried to resist. They all died the same way, slowly, publicly. The Kalari didn't just want Earth, they wanted obedience. We became a resource like oil or cattle. At first, they kept most humans in cities, processing zones they called them. Structured, sterile, surrounded by invisible walls. No weapons, no noise. Just labor, rations, and silence. People still told stories, though. In hushed voices at night, mothers told their kids Earth would rise again. That someone was coming. That someone turned out to be me, but not yet. Back then, I was nobody. Just another scrawny human with buzzed hair and scars on his arms from welding Kalari ship frames in a toxic hangar. My name was Jace Korr. I was angry, always angry. But I kept it down, kept it quiet. That's how you survived, until the day they killed my brother. Ben was 16. We worked together in Sector 9, one of the outer rim factories outside old Los Angeles. He was clever, too clever, thought he could steal a vial of coolant and trade it underground for food. The Kalari saw him. They always saw everything. They didn't shoot him. They did worse. They dragged him in front of the entire sector, forced us all to stop work, and made an example of him. They burned him alive. I still hear his screams. Something broke inside me that day. Some part of my soul, the part that still believed in hope or waiting or mercy. It turned to ash like him. And that night, I made a choice. I snuck back into the factory and stole a shard of Kalari alloy, razor sharp. I hid it in my boot, and for the next 2 years I waited. Watching, learning, studying every routine, every ship movement, every weakness. They thought humans were too broken to fight. They forgot what happens when you leave one angry dog in the cage too long. At 20, I made my move. It started small. A minor explosion in a fuel line. Looked like an accident, but the next time 3 Kalari guards died, then 5, then a ship didn't make it back. People started whispering my name. The Ghost, they called me. They didn't know it was me, and that was the point. But the Kalari knew someone was fighting back. And they started to panic. They tightened security, raided homes, executed whole blocks for suspicion. And that's when I realized something. This wasn't just about me anymore. It wasn't about Ben. It was about all of us. I wasn't just going to fight back. I was going to burn their empire to the ground, even if it killed me. The first time I slit a Kalari's throat, I expected to feel something. Guilt, fear, maybe even triumph. But I felt nothing. It wasn't because I was numb. It was because the bastard deserved it. His name, or whatever garbled name they gave him, was Commander Thavak. He was brutal, even by their standards. Liked to parade humans around like animals. Forced them to fight each other for scraps. I had watched him laugh when a girl was torn apart by a rogue mech because she slipped on a pipe. So when I cornered him in the maintenance shaft of Hangar 6, and that cold shard of stolen alloy slid under his black-veined skin, I watched him die the way he made my people die, helpless. I left his body hanging from the rafters, not hidden. I wanted them to see. That was the real beginning. I started finding others, quiet rebels like me who'd lost too much to be afraid anymore. People who'd been waiting for something, someone. I wasn't a hero, but they looked at me like I was one, so I became it. We called ourselves Ashwalkers, because we were the ones who walked through the ruins and still chose to rise. We had no weapons, no tech. The Kalari saw to that. But we had old blueprints, scraps, and rage. Turns out rage can be engineered into explosives if you know what you're doing. Our missions were never clean, never perfect. We lost people. Good people. One named Tali. She was 19 with burns down her whole left side and a mind sharper than any blade. She built our first working EMP burst that disabled a patrol cruiser for 12 minutes. That 12 minutes gave us our first stolen ship. We called it Hope. I hated the name, but they voted on it. But the Kalari were evolving too. They adapted. Their language shifted. Their patrols grew unpredictable. And they had a new face. A monster wrapped in silver-black armor, taller than any of them, with a voice that sounded like metal scraping bone. His name was Vexar, and he was no commander. He was executioner, judge, and purifier in one. The moment he arrived, people disappeared by the dozens. He didn't question, didn't threaten. He just erased. And one day he came looking for me. I remember the broadcast like it was yesterday. A hologram on every wall, across every zone. His face, if you could call it that, was blank, expressionless, like a mask carved from death. The one called Ghost has 7 days to surrender. Her 10,000 will burn. He wasn't bluffing. That night they bombed Sector 5, not with fire or gas. With sound. A weapon that shattered the mind. Everyone inside went silent. No screams. Just stillness. When I saw the footage, I nearly broke. Was this the price of rebellion? Innocents turned into corpses for a war they didn't even start. Was I becoming the monster I hated? But then I remembered something my brother once told me. Back when we were kids, hiding from drones under floorboards. Sometimes, you gotta be the fire if the world's too cold. So I got colder. We accelerated everything. No more waiting. No more precision. We hit supply lines, nuked their fuel depots. We poisoned their food reserves. We stole back humans marked for off-world transport and sent ships flying into their orbital docks loaded with explosives. Every time they struck, we struck harder. They took 10 lives. We'd take 50. They began to fear shadows. Began to fear us, but Vexar, he didn't fear anything. And he was getting closer. I could feel it in my bones, like winter crawling under your skin, and in the middle of it all, a message came through the underground net, a garbled, encrypted call from beyond the orbit walls, human alive, from a planet we thought was gone, and they had something that could end the Kalari. At first, I thought it was a trap, a message coming through the old net, bouncing off ancient satellites we thought were long dead, static glitches, scrambled code. Then a voice, raw, human, and impossible. Jace Korr, if you're hearing this, you're not the last. The words didn't register right away. Not the last. What did that even mean? Then came coordinates. Outside the solar boundary. Somewhere past the Kuiper Belt, and an image. Blurry, low resolution, but real. A colony, human faces, real air. It was like seeing a ghost breathe. We'd been told for years, hell decades, that Earth was it. That humanity was done. That no one survived beyond the Kalari's reach. But they lied. The Kalari didn't kill everyone. They missed something, or maybe they let something live, and now it was calling out to me. We were operating out of an old Kalari station then, gutted from the inside, and rigged with enough stolen gear to fake power signatures and avoid their orbital scans. I brought the message to the Ashwalker's core team. Tali's replacement, Marek, a hard-eyed ex-engineer. Lana, our communications lead. And Rez, my second-in-command and the only one who still had a sense of humor. They stared at the footage in silence. Lana was the first to speak. If it's real, they could have tech we've never seen. Ships, weapons, data on the Kalari weak spots. Marek shook his head. Or it's bait. You leave Earth, they track you, follow you, wipe out the last spark of hope we've got. Rez just leaned forward. Doesn't matter. If it's a lie, we'll know. If it's real and we don't go. He looked me in the eye. Then we're nothing but ghosts playing at war. So I made the call. We launched in the dead of night. No send-off, no speeches. Just the rumble of thrusters and a cold, ugly feeling in my gut. We took hope. The ship we'd rebuilt a dozen times, patched together with stolen parts and prayers. The journey took 4 days through a route I wouldn't recommend to anyone who values their sanity. We had to drift half the time, power low to avoid the Kalari orbital drags. I barely slept. Every hour I expected to see Vexar's fleet scream out of nowhere, but they didn't come. And when we crossed the edge of the coordinates, we saw it. A world. Hidden behind a shattered moon, covered in tech but not alien. Human. We docked in silence. Guns ready, hearts louder than footsteps. A figure met us on the landing platform. Grey-haired, weathered, a suit patched like ours. And eyes that had seen too much. He stepped forward, voice calm but cold. Name's Commander Ren Vale, you must be the ghost. I didn't speak. Just nodded. He took us through corridors lit by clean light, past people who didn't flinch at the sight of weapons, who looked like fighters. Not slaves. Not survivors, soldiers. What is this place? I asked. He glanced back. We call it Bastion. We've been waiting for you. The words felt wrong. Too rehearsed. The words felt wrong. Too rehearsed. We sat down in their command center, ancient Earth tech mixed with alien salvage. They showed us archives, maps, intel, recordings of Kalari language decryption, troop movements, even their internal politics. They'd been studying the enemy for over a decade. Why haven't you helped us? I asked, bitter creeping in. We've been dying down there, begging for a sign. Where the hell were you? Ren didn't blink. Because we weren't ready. Every move we made had to be invisible. If they knew we existed, they would have wiped us before we could strike. He leaned forward. But now we are ready. And with you, we can start the final phase. He pulled up one final file. A single glowing blueprint, a weapon. Something massive. Project Inferno, he said. Kalari killer. But it needs a power core. Something only Earth's main processing facility holds. I felt the blood drain from my face. That facility was in Sector 0, where my father had been taken, where Vexar ruled. If we wanted to burn their empire, we'd have to go into the darkest part of it first. Sector 0 wasn't just a place. It was a wound, a deep, festering scar on the Earth's crust, where the Kalari had built their first command hub after enslaving us. If Earth had a hell, it wasn't fire. It was steel, concrete, and silence. They called it the Core Harvest Facility. Massive, buried, alive. It was where they took the ones they wanted to break permanently. Intellects, soldiers, leaders. My father had been one of them. I hadn't seen him since the day they dragged him out of our house. But word always came through the underground. He was still alive. A whisper, a rumor, a cruel lie maybe, but something told me it wasn't. And now to ignite Project Inferno, we needed the one thing that only existed in that cursed place, a Kalari Omega core. The last time someone tried to breach the facility, they never even made it past the outer crust. Just turned into ash on the satellite feeds. But that was before me, before the Ashwalkers, before the fire. We returned to Earth cloaked beneath Bastion's stealth tech, so advanced it made us feel invisible. For a few moments we believed we were gods flying through Kalari territory. But belief is just fuel for disappointment. The moment we breached orbit, Vexar knew. Not because we were detected, but because I was coming, and somehow he always knew they didn't shoot us down. They let us land. That's when I realized Vexar wanted me in Sector 0. We hit dirt half a mile from the facility's surface gates, landing in a dead forest of twisted metal and petrified trees. The air tasted like rust and memory. The Ashwalkers moved with purpose. Rez led recon. Lana jammed their tracking pulses. Marek rigged the charges that would crack open the facility's eastern vent. I walked in silence, and in my head, I kept hearing my father's voice. Not his real voice, not from memory. Just the echo of him telling me stories as a boy about how humans never gave up, how we were more than just flesh. How fire wasn't something to fear. It lived inside us. The entrance was disguised under a false rock face, Kalari tech pulsing beneath the illusion. We cracked it open with a sonic burst, enough to alert every guard within 20 clicks. But that didn't matter. This wasn't stealth. This was war. Inside, it was darker than night. The corridors were ribbed with pulsating energy veins. Everything reeked of rot and ozone. We moved fast. 2 teams. Mine heading for the Omega Core chamber. Rez's going for prisoner logs. He wanted to find someone too. His sister. Turns out we all had ghosts buried here. We reached the core room without resistance. That alone scared me more than anything. The last corridor was lined with walls of glass, and inside each pane were humans sleeping, floating, hooked into machines, thousands of them, eyes closed, mouths sealed, limbs twitching, feeding the core. God, Lana whispered.
They're using them.
As batteries. No one spoke after that. The Omega Core pulsed like a heart made of stars, hanging in a zero-gravity field suspended by chains of dark light. It wasn't just power. It was life. To pull it out would kill everything in this facility. That was the plan, until I saw him. Across the chamber, through the glass, my father gaunt, still alive, a dozen wires snaking from his spine, his chest barely rising. His eyes twitched like he was dreaming a nightmare he'd never wake from. I moved without thinking. Punched through the glass, alarms screaming instantly. Lana tried to stop me, but I was already yanking the tubes out, blood, sparks. His body convulsed, his eyes opened, and he whispered my name. Jace, you can't stop it. I didn't understand. What do you mean? I'm here to save you. We're taking the core. We're ending this. He grabbed my wrist with more strength than he should have had. His voice cracked like glass. No, you don't get it. The core isn't theirs. It's ours. They made it from us, from me. And then I heard the sound, not alarms, laughter echoing in human Vexar. Let him go, Ghost. The voice boomed through the chamber walls. Let him die, or take the core and become him. And just like that, everything I thought I knew began to fall apart. I stood there shaking, not from fear, but from the weight of what my father had just told me. The Omega Core, the one thing powerful enough to obliterate the Kelari command grid. To end this war wasn't some alien reactor. It was human, and my father was part of it. My mind couldn't wrap around it, not fully. He was wired in, his body thin and pale, but still alive, still holding on to something. The machines weren't just feeding off him. They were using his consciousness. You helped them build it? I asked, my voice dry as dust. No, he croaked. They ripped it from me. From hundreds of us, scientists, engineers, psychics, anything remotely advanced. They figured out how to tap into the human brain. Emotions, memory, soul, and turn it into energy. We became the fuel. My stomach churned. That meant every time the Kelari moved their fleets, powered their towers, crushed another resistance cell, it was because of us, because of him. And now Project Inferno needed that same core. I looked back at Lana. Her face was pale. She was trying not to meet my eyes. We have to do it, she whispered. We don't have another shot at this. And what? I snapped. Sacrifice him? Let him rot in this machine for another 100 years? If we don't, more people will die, millions. My father gripped my arm again, voice weak but steady. Listen to me, Jace. If you take the core, the network collapses. It'll kill me. And every other mind still inside. I looked down the corridor of glass walls again. Still faces, frozen, forgotten. How many? I asked. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. Too many. Is there another way? A pause, then. There's a fail-safe, he said slowly, each word dragging pain behind it. Deep beneath this chamber, built by us before they fully took control. But it needs someone who's already linked to the system. I didn't like where this was going. You? He shook his head. Too far gone. Brain's too integrated, but you're my son. I stepped back. What are you saying? His eyes locked onto mine. You can enter the grid, override the core, purge it, destroy everything from the inside. I felt the air leave my lungs. You want me to link in? Become part of this thing? Just long enough to destroy it. And what if I don't come back? Then you'll die as you lived, fighting. The chamber lights flickered. Rez's voice cracked through the comms. Jace, we've got incoming. Vexar's troops are breaching outer gates. You've got maybe 10 minutes. I stared at the core, pulsing like a quiet sun, hanging above the platform like it was waiting for me. Then I looked at my father. What was left of him? Not a warrior. Not a rebel. Just a broken man who had been forced to carry the weight of this war on his spine. Maybe it was always supposed to be me. I stepped onto the interface pad. Lana tried to say something. I didn't hear it. The platform rose beneath me. Cables snaked out like tendrils. One latched onto my back, another to my neck. Everything went white. Then I opened my eyes in a place that wasn't real. It looked like Earth, but cleaner, empty. Still, like a perfect memory built by a machine, and standing in front of me was Vexar, no armor, no weapons, just him, or rather the thing wearing a human face. You finally made it, he said. His voice wasn't synthetic here. It sounded like a man, calm, cold. You're not real, I growled. He smiled. Real enough. I've lived inside this system longer than you've been alive. And now that you're here, I don't have to destroy you. He stepped closer. I can absorb you. I charged him. Fists flew, light bent, and the fake Earth shattered like glass. We fell into fire, into the core's true heart, and the final war had begun. Falling felt endless, but it wasn't falling. Not really. Inside the core, gravity didn't exist. Time didn't tick. Reality bent and warped like wet paper in the rain. I wasn't in a place, I was inside a mind. 100 minds. 1,000. And at the center of it all was him, Vexar, or what wore the name Vexar. He wasn't Kalari anymore. He wasn't even alien. Not in the way we thought. "Do you want to know the truth?" he said, voice echoing across a landscape made of shifting memories. "Of what we are." I stood on what looked like a battlefield. A scarred, smoking Earth city. Familiar, too familiar, LA, the day of the first invasion. The place my father vanished. "You're monsters," I said. He smiled. "We're evolution." And then the scene shifted, ripped open like pages in a book. Rewinding faster than thought, I saw Earth. Thousands of years ago, I saw humans worshipping strange machines that fell from the sky. Not Kalari, progenitors. "They found you before we did," Vexar whispered. "They shaped you, touched your DNA, bent your path. They created the spark in your brain, the part that dreams, that fights, that never gives up." The vision changed again. Now I saw the Kalari, uglier, smaller, weaker. "Before the rise, before the empire, they feared you," he continued. "So when the progenitors vanished, the Kalari took what was left. They harvested it," he pointed at me. "At you," it clicked then. The core wasn't just power. It was stolen potential. A siphon of human consciousness, memory, emotion. Used like fuel, we weren't just slaves. We were weapons, broken open and repurposed to power our enemies. "You think this justifies what you did?" I shouted. "No," Vexar said. "I don't care about justification. I care about order. Chaos was Earth's legacy. Your war, your greed, your pain. We fixed that." He stepped closer, face glitching between alien and human. "You call this slavery. I call it balance." I clenched my fists. The air around me trembled. In here, thoughts had weight. Emotions had shape, and I was done listening. I lunged. The world exploded, fire, rage. Memories tore open like wounds. I saw my brother's death again. My mother's screams, the factories, the cages. I used them all. Turned them into weapons. I wasn't a soldier anymore, I was a storm. I hit Vexar with everything. Every punch became lightning. Every scream became fire. He staggered, stumbled, then laughed. "You're powerful in here, Ghost," he said, "but you don't know the system like I do. You're not in control." He snapped his fingers. Suddenly, I was back in my house. As a kid, 15. The day my father was taken, he sat at the table, smiling. Whole. Happy. "Sit down, Jace," he said, voice warm. It wasn't real. I knew that. But it hurt. "Let it go," Vexar whispered from somewhere in the walls. "Stay here. I can give you peace. Give you your family back. End the war inside you." I stepped forward, and the image of my father smiled wider. "You don't have to fight anymore, son." For a moment, I wanted to believe, I wanted to rest. But then I saw the flicker, his eyes glitching, cold, black-veined. He wasn't my father. He was a puppet, a mask, and that snapped me clean in two. I screamed. The illusion shattered, and this time I wasn't alone. Behind me, I heard voices. Hundreds, thousands. Human voices. The others. The minds trapped in the core, they were waking up. My father's voice echoed in the void. "You're inside now, Jace. You can guide them. You can free them," Vexar roared. The world twisted. "No, they belong to me." I focused, pulled in every memory I had. Ben, the Ashwalkers, the Resistance, Earth's fire, the fight. I sent it into the grid. I didn't just break the system, I infected it with hope. With rage, with humanity. The core screamed. The walls shattered. And Vexar, he burned. Because in the end, he didn't understand the one thing that made us dangerous. We never stop. Fighting, not when it hurts, not when it's hopeless, not even when the world tells us we're already dead. I woke up choking. The air was thick, full of dust and heat, the sound of sirens buzzing faintly in the background. I was flat on my back, the interface cables ripped from my spine, blood dripping from the ports. Every nerve felt like it had been doused in fire. Lana was standing over me, eyes wide, shaking me like she was trying to wake the dead. "Jace, say something." I gasped, then coughed, then laughed. I was still alive, but the room wasn't. The Omega Core chamber was collapsing in on itself, walls crumbling, lights flickering. In the far corner, the glass tanks that once held human minds were empty now, shattered, fluid leaking across the floor like blood. "They're free," I rasped. They're all free. Rez stumbled into the chamber, his shirt scorched, bleeding from his temple. Whatever the hell you did, the core's eating itself. You've got 2 minutes, Max. I tried to stand, failed, my legs gave out. Lana caught me before I hit the ground. I'm fine, I lied. Get the data, get to the ship. Marek's voice crackled through the comms. We've got lockdowns lifting across every grid. Entire sectors are blacking out. The system's crashing. They can't stop it, but I wasn't thinking about that. I turned my head, my father, still strapped to his broken chair. His eyes fluttered. Barely awake, Dad, he smiled weakly. You did it. No, I said, crawling toward him. Not without you. I'm not leaving you here. He shook his head slowly. You already saved me. All of us. I reached for the cable still embedded in him. I can get you out. His hand gripped mine, soft, final. No, Jace, my body's gone. My mind was the only thing keeping that core alive. If you pull me free now, you'll die, he nodded. I already did, son. Years ago, I wanted to scream, punch something, anything, but there was no time. The platform beneath us cracked, groaning as the energy field around the core dimmed and flickered. I'm proud of you, he whispered. You were the fire. Then he let go and I let him go. We ran through corridors swallowing themselves. Past melting machines. Kalari guards collapsed in the halls, twitching like insects with no signal. Their hive mind, their power grid, it was all gone. By the time we reached the surface, the sky was burning, not with fire, but light. Ships falling from orbit. Towers collapsing. Giant energy veins in the earth unraveling like dead nerves. The Kalari Empire wasn't just broken. It was bleeding out. Hope was waiting for us, our ship battered, scorched, but alive. Marek and Lana helped me up the ramp while Rez took the helm. I turned one last time before the hatch closed. I saw Sector 0 sink into the earth like a wounded beast finally dying. And in that moment, I didn't feel triumph, I felt hollow. We'd won. But we'd lost so much doing it. I didn't feel like a hero. I felt like a gravekeeper. The next few days were chaos. Signals from all over Earth started pouring in. Resistance cells, underground groups, entire sectors that had been quiet for decades suddenly found their voices. And all of them were saying the same thing. They're gone. The Kalari weren't dead. Not all of them, but without the core they were scattered, disoriented, broken. Their control net collapsed. We had our planet back, but not our peace, not yet. I stood on the edge of a ruined building in New Chicago watching the sunrise. First one I'd seen in years without a blockade blotting the sky. Rez walked up beside me. So what now? I didn't answer right away. What now? The war was ending, but the world was a mess. Entire continents in ruins, billions gone, systems fried, trust shattered, and me. I didn't know who I was without the fight. Then Lana joined us, handing me a small device, Bastion's last secure relay. It held all the Kalari tech, decoded systems, data logs, everything we needed to rebuild, or everything someone else could use to start a new empire. The choice was mine, but I was tired of empires. I crushed the device under my boot. Rez didn't ask why. He just nodded. Behind us, survivors were climbing out of bunkers, blinking into the light. Humans, scared, hungry, but alive. It was a start. The world didn't cheer when the Kalari fell. There were no parades, no banners, no flag-raising moment with triumphant music and tears in the streets. There was just silence, the kind that follows too many years of screaming. Earth was free, yes. But freedom doesn't rebuild cities. It doesn't bury the dead. It doesn't fix the broken ones walking around with blank stares and haunted eyes. We didn't win a war, we survived it, and now we had to learn how to live again. I spent the first few weeks after the fall drifting, walking through the ruins of places I remembered from before the invasion. Old homes cracked and hollow, schools turned into labor camps, statues of Kalari overseers pulled down by mobs and melted into scrap. People asked for guidance. They called me a leader, a symbol. I never asked for that. I just wanted my brother back, my father. A family that wasn't made of scars and revenge. But every time I tried to fade into the shadows, someone pulled me back. The Ashwalkers were still with me, Lana helping reconnect lost networks, Rez training survivors to defend themselves, Marek helping towns rebuild tech from scraps. They were rebuilding Earth from the bones up, and even though I didn't want it, I knew I owed them something so I stayed. Bastion returned a month later, drifting into our orbit, cloaked in silence. Commander Renvale looked older, thinner. He congratulated me, then handed me a report. The Kalari homeworld was in chaos. Without the core, they turned on each other. Civil war, infighting. Some of their colonies were now trying to reach out for peace, for survival. Should we strike now? He asked me.
While they're weak?
I looked at the stars, thought about how many years they stole from us, how many bodies they left behind. I wanted to say yes. I wanted blood, but something in me had changed. No, I said. Let them rot in their own mess. We've got our own world to fix. He nodded. He didn't argue. That told me everything I needed to know about him, about why they'd stayed hidden all those years. They weren't cowards. They were waiting for someone to make the hard calls. For better or worse, I was that someone now. Months passed. The Ashwalkers disbanded, not out of betrayal or failure, but because we didn't need to fight anymore. Rez settled in New Boston, started a school for combat survival. Lana ran the EarthNet, rebuilding our comms across every continent. Me? I found a stretch of land outside the ruins of San Francisco. Quiet, no patrols, no ghosts, just wind, ash, and seeds in the dirt. I built a home, with my hands, and every morning, I'd wake up before the sun and sit on the porch with a mug of bitter old world coffee and stare at the horizon. Sometimes kids would come out, asking questions about the war. The ghost, the empire. I'd tell them the truth. Not the glory. Not the legend, just the pain. The cost. And how we earned every inch of this broken, battered freedom. One day a girl, maybe 10 years old, asked me something that stuck. Are the monsters gone forever? I looked out across the hills. The trees growing back. The sky finally clean. No, I said. Monsters never go away. She frowned. Then how do we stop them? I leaned down. We don't wait for heroes, I said. We become them, before they ever come back. She nodded, quiet, walked away, and I sat back, breathing in the wind. The war had ended, but the world was just beginning.